Good morning and welcome to another edition of Vintage Drum Restoration Garage with your host Bruce. And today I've got just a short little video on the restoration of a Gretsch or Camco bass drum rail consulate. Just your basic one. You can use this video to restore a Ludwig or a Slingerland. They just have the little feet coming off here, on both sides. It's basically the same thing, but I just thought we'd strip it down and show you what I do, and just to make it work a little bit better. So I'm just going to completely dismantle it right now. Starting with these nuts on the side here, or bolts on the side, and wanted to thank all the new subscribers who have been coming along for the ride and all these videos. Hope you enjoy the content, and if you have any ideas that I think I can help someone with, then I'd be glad to do that. We've got some cool restorations coming up. I just thought I'd do this quick video here today because it's something that I thought that folks could use to repair their bass drum mounts rather than just toss them in the trash. I'm a big believer in these rail consolates. I like the way they're positioned, the tom on the bass drum, and I like the way it looks. So I've always used them, so I guess maybe that's just why I have that preference. So I just completely dismantle these. Trying to get this thing off of here. Okay, so now we've got this thing down completely stripped out. Get this part out of here, and here's how I do that. I'm sure you can figure that one out, but if you want to know how to get these out of here, you just maybe put this in your vise and put a screwdriver in it, spread it a little bit, and it'll come right out of there. I'll move you guys over here so you can see this. So what I'll do is I'll clean every part real good, and then I'll come back to you and we'll reassemble this thing. Okay, so I've cleaned all these parts real good with my wheels. If you don't have the wheels, you'll have to use 4/0 steel wool and maybe like a Windex or some kind of a cleaning solution, whatever you prefer. And I use ammonia mixed with water, 50-50. But in your final insulation or assembly, you're going to need to find out what spade you like. This one came with your basic spade. This is your basic spade that came with a Gretsch or Camco set. Great for a 22-inch bass drum and some 20-inch bass drum applications, but some guys like it higher. I do. I use a lot of 18-inch bass drums, and even on my 20s I use a higher one. So, you know, this is an original one, Gretsch or Camco. But I've actually made these, and the way I make these is just, you have to remove this part from this rod here, and I usually heat them up and pop them off, and then I bend it accordingly like this, and I weld them to a 3/8 rod. If you need me to show you how I've done that, I can do it. But it's pretty self-explanatory. And now I'm going to start the assembly process. I'll just clean them up real good once again, and I want to get the fingerprints off of it. Get all the fingerprints and everything off of it, and then I know I've got a nice product. So each time I put a piece on, I completely oil the threads real good, because I've cleaned all these threads real good. I think half the problem with these going bad or getting bound up is a result of it getting dirt in the threads and all. You'll notice there's a slight bend on these carriage bolts. For good reason. It's kind of going up. That's so you can get this to lock in there, and as it tightens down, the threads are still in line here. So here I go. I always put a lock washer on there. Then here's the bigger nut that goes on there. All the threads have been cleaned. Then I've got, once again, this one here is got a bend on it. You can see it's going up, and that would the bend would go face down on this. You can see it's got a kind of a slight bend going down. I put the next part on here, the clasp I call it. And then I'm going to put another lock washer on there. Actually, I won't, because this one's not long enough. Wait a minute. Let me pop it in there a little better. There it is. Okay. Got that on there. And for this application, I'm just going to use the one that came in there, this one. Now look, I find that when you use this one, you either have to move this dial, this clasp here, up to one of the holes, and then it doesn't seem to always be just where you want it. So what I do is I actually take it over to the vise here, and I actually bend it to get a little bit of a better angle. And I just find that it works better that way. And my tom's hanging the way I like it. So I bent that at a slight angle, and I like the way my tom hangs better that way. So I install that in there. I'll just give it a little bit of a tighten. And then these banana rails. Good idea to clean these threads in here and oil them once again. So these have been cleaned. You put a tap in there and clean them out real good. I've seen these break, and these parts in here are actually brass on a lot of them. I'm not sure about this one here, but this rail is brass, pretty sure. So I'll put that in there. There we go. And then before you put your banana rail on there, you want to put your mounting screws in, oil them up once again. Put your big washers on, and your lock washers, and your nuts. And you're ready to install your rail on there. I don't think these really came with lock washers, so once they're locked into these grooves here, there's a little square rail there that goes in these. They really won't move. So once you got those little bolts on there, you're going to be okay. Let me put this side on first. Then we can line this up better. And there we go. Ready to tighten up. So anyway, okay, so we're all cleaned up now, and got this all assembled, and these are kind of nice little wrenches that we used to use in the 60s. They fit this right here, and you put them in your little trap case or whatever you had, and they're kind of handy. Or you can use a wrench. These are sometimes on eBay or maybe on Facebook or whatever. These little wrenches are kind of nice. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, And we're going to be working on a Gretsch snare drum next, which will be really an interesting one because we're going to recover it. All right, so be looking forward to that probably next week. And thanks for all the new subscribers. Glad to have you along for the ride. And if you got any questions, just let me know. And I'll talk to you on the next one. Cheers.